Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence. Put in the work for yourself and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Saturday, January 20th. We're going to take an updated look at SAVA. So last time we looked at SAVA, we had mentioned this establishing of an uptrend support that seemed like maybe it would hold, and it's at least held for one solid bang. Came up, filled this gap, and then established this floor over 2066, made a run up all the way to 32-ish, and then came back down pretty hard, but built and stabilized once again right around that 22 level. So huge percentage swings sort of week over week on this one. Now the interesting thing to me that happened a few trading days ago was the gap here that we had mentioned in that video that we had put in here on these purple lines, that got filled. So the gap we had, let me make sure these levels are on the dot. So 27.34 was the low on that day. So yeah, that's our level. And it stretched up to a high of 27.37 on this day. So it reached a few pennies over. Now that said, price action in here pretty thin, right? Just sort of like a little bit of a candle body here and then mostly wicks. It started to get a little bit of a candle body again on Friday. So I'm interested to see what it does with this, because not only is there, or was there, I guess, that gap, but those are also support and resistance levels on the chart. And so if it can get into there, because the price action was previously pretty thin, I'm going to leave it purple because I'm wondering if its next sort of entry or foray into that price realm, if it will treat it more like a gap than anything else, and maybe get some more significant price action within that range. That said, it's just sort of inching its way back up into it on Friday, and so it would have to be able to hold in there for that to even play out. Now, if it does retrace a bit, we do have this this uptrend support, which, like I said, it did a good job holding here, but it hasn't really put in a secondary test, which makes me feel a little less confident about it. I don't know that it will hold. Right? We had this really brief establishment here, which is fine, and then this was a nice hold. But the big question is, it's going to hold on the next turn. And if it were to come down hard or even sidestep into it, I'd be interested to see if it's able to continue to provide support and allow the stock to continue to build, or at least not retrace further down than that uptrend support level. So we'll see how those hold and kind of take it from there. But I was looking last night for potential swing trades, and there's not a lot that I'm finding. I have a few more to look through. So SAVA, to me, is sort of one of the ones that's kind of having a nice run here and continuing to be able to push, even though it is, a wild roller coaster, and when it drops hard. But sort of compared to some of the other stuff I was looking at, it didn't look bad at all. The question is going to be, will it be able to hold up, especially if, in the macro view of things, the overall markets are having a bit more of a challenging time. I don't know. But on the think or swim side of things here, we do have this period where it was triggering and firing, and that brought about this sort of hefty roller coaster. And now what we see is it basically trying to hold some price action at or above the mid-range of the channel. So always what we would expect to see when price leaves the channel, we look for it to come back in and retest the mid-range. It did that here. I mean, it came down so hard with that big gap down that it needed to, it sort of got swallowed down into the channel all the way down to this lower mid-range, right, this gray. That bound of the channel, versus obviously it didn't have to come down and test the lower bound of the channel. So lower mid-range was able to keep enough proximity to the mid-range that it worked its way back up and established, for the time being at least, some price action over it. At the same time, we see on the histogram here bearish momentum seeming to be died off to the baseline, and this looks like it put in a smidge of a bullish momentum candle on the histogram on Friday. So again, we'll see if that continues to play out. It does, or it has had, as of late, even though there's these wild swings, it has had relatively nice symmetrical, ups and downs. Symmetrical in the sense of there's not a ton of hiccup candles happening. Like here you see hiccup candles, right? Red building, and then yellow receding, but then red building again. So the red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, that's where it gets a little herky-jerky. I'm like, what's happening here? But those were all so near the baseline that I think it was just sort of like, where are we going to go from the baseline here? So, this was nice and symmetrical. This was nice and symmetrical as well. So we'll see if it's able to build up and through and put in some bullish momentum on the histogram, or if it does something like this, where it did, and it on here it double dipped with the bullish momentum. We'll see if it puts this in and then struggles a bit and then double dips on the bearish momentum. I don't know, just sort of something to keep an eye out for, depending on how things develop. Sorry if I seem a little distracted on this chart. Folks have been saying that they can't see the numbers over here. As I'm recording it, it looks like that should be showing up, but I'll double check, and if it's not, I'll try to adjust this view here. I think I can just pull these guys over. Yeah, and oh wow, I can do that whole thing. Okay, well, we'll figure something out and figure out where to arrange things. It doesn't have to be part of this video. All right, folks, I hope that you enjoy your weekend, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.